Okay, buddy. Coming live to you from the Bat Cave.
Kind of seems like you're in the asylum, dude. You just need like that bandaged up fucking outfit.
Yeah, so I guess, ladies and gentlemen, for those watching, welcome to my bedroom. And in case anybody wondered like how lean we're living right now, check out my bedside table.
Nice.
Yeah, black and yellow, the old bins. Oh, Buck, you gotta beat it, dude.
So I see that the dog sitter, not only did the dog survive, but the sitter got a shout out on social media. So must be
Oh. No,
pretty
so
good dog sitter.
that's a different deal.
Oh,
So next to the shop is what's called Pooch Paradise. And it's whatever, take your dog in, get the nails done, get the shampoo, get the whatever. And anyway, I went in there the other day because, well, it's a small town where the shop is. And, it's one of those things like if you don't support the local businesses, where, how the hell's the town going to stay alive? So I'm like, and plus, me being new to town, got to meet the neighbors, and my dog smelled like a homeless nutsack. So why not take him over there? So anyway, yeah, went in there. They did a great job for like $60 or something too, like just cheap. I mean, we were used to 120, 130 at least.
damn.
So I was like, hey, what's your guys' deal? Oh, I kind of did this out of my house, and I went out on a limb and rented a building and doing it sort of full time down here now. I'm like, well, you guys got social media? Yeah, of course. I'm like, okay, well, let's shout them out. So that's, yeah, kind of same but different. That wasn't where he spent the week when we were at Pitts.
But he did okay at the other place.
Yeah, came home alive, so we're
Okay.
good there. Yeah, he but you know what? Here's another thing, and I think this is just, oh, you know what, dude, before we get too far, here's my couch that I'm
I
sitting on,
remember
right?
that.
The lawn chairs that came to Pitts. Yeah, I stole a lawn chair out of the living room. Um, yeah, like here's another neat little nuance to Tennessee. So we take the dog to this dog farm retreat thing, and Karina's like my wife, she goes, they just seemed a little like loosey goosey, like they weren't sure how much they were going to charge me. It was real kind of nothing set in stone. Then we pick them up, and we're like, okay, how much do we owe you? Oh, we'll send you an email kind of thing, right? And we're like, is this a legit operation? Is kind of the way your mind goes. But this is just the way things operate down here, man. It's like true blue handshake.
Yeah.
Everything happens when it's supposed to, kind of thing. Like it's really refreshing.
So actually, that's a good segue into a topic, which before I start that, I'll take a sip of this Corona and wish Mr. Tommy Schwenzer a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday, you old dink. How many years young is he this year?
I'm not sure.
He's a little longer in the tooth than us.
Yeah, he's close. Like he's not the big 5-0 yet, but he's
46-ish,
Yeah.
47 maybe.
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So I get a message from Laura this morning in a group text between her, Britt, Lewis, and I.
Yeah, this is
And
Lewis's better half for anybody keeping
yeah,
score at home here.
yeah. So obviously we all stayed together at an Airbnb for Pitts, and well, what, a full week since checkout, literally today.
Yeah.
So this morning there's some photos that are sent in our group chat. So I guess Laura was sort of like on the admin or messaging side of the Airbnb stuff with Aaron, who's Tom's better half, who booked and found and booked and dealt with all the dealings for the Airbnb. So 4 images come across of a TV, and the bottom section of the frame, one side's like got a bunch of tape on it, and then the other side's cracked.
The frame of the
And
TV.
what's that?
The frame of the TV?
Yeah, yeah, like the bottom part of the frame, and then like the bottom right corner's got like a real, like almost like a chunk out of it. But the TV is on in the pictures, so it still works.
Right.
So apparently, this TV was in mine and Britt's bedroom, and there's damage to it. And they're trying to say we broke it, and they want $299 to repair this TV. So
Those were
I'm like,
no-namer TVs too, like TCH or
yeah, like some Roku built-in TCL T some shit, right?
yeah.
And so the first thing to my mind is like I know I had a couple more nights than Britt did because she flew in later on. But I'm like, I'm pretty observant of shit like that, just because it will be like symmetry's off, or you see the tape, or like whatever.
Yeah.
But like, didn't even turn the TV on the whole time. Like we were busy enough with not needing, you know, um, TV entertainment. So I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, well, we didn't break it. So, and I don't think it was like that when we got there. So I'm like, I bet you the damn cleaners wiped it. It fell onto the dresser that's sitting below it, cracked the base, and they tried to like half-ass it back together.
The
So
old MacGyver, yeah.
yeah, so I call Aaron and I'm like, obviously I know how everything works. You don't want bad feedback or bad ratings, but at the same time, I'm like, I was triggered because I never got shit from my laptop getting fucked when we were at Motor City. Like, I fought that battle for over a year of constant phone calls, messages, emails, this, that, the next thing. And they just blew me off like it didn't matter. So, um, Aaron was pretty much like, well, that place was booked out as soon as we left. So she's
Right.
like, it could have been the next group that messed it up. And she's like, they already left us our feedback. And I'm like, oh, well, there you go. Like, just
Yeah.
say you had your opportunity. Why would you leave feedback if you hadn't inspected everything? Or did you just put the carriage in front of the horse? And if you did, well, that's sort of on you and not on us. So, I guess there's this option. They can like send a request and it's like pay full amount, which is $299, pay half, or decline to pay. So Aaron's like, I'm going to decline to pay and just say your cleaners must have done it, or it was the group after us, or whatever. Like, you gave the review, everything was fine. So you can't come now after the fact and say something different.
Yeah.
So, of course, I go on and the old Googles. So I'm like, man, how much is a 40-inch TCL TV sell for? $150. And like, it's not like the TV doesn't work either. Like, in the pictures, you can see the Roku screen. It's actually on. So
Yeah.
it's like, what's the cosmetic damage worth? Or like, just get a nicer piece of duct tape on the bottom or whatever. Like, it's an Airbnb. You know what I mean? Like, if it didn't work, okay, but it's still functional. And
Yeah.
we didn't do it. So then Britt's like, oh, I've heard of this. There's a lot of this scamming going on, where Airbnb hosts are like claiming that there's damage or they create damage or whatever and come back on and charge people. And I'm like, how shady has the world become? It's sort of like the insurance scam of people backing into you and saying, oh, you rear-ended me, like all this bullshit that's going on. So I'm like, what just ever happened to the traditional old school bank robber or some shit that I could actually, like, I don't know, appreciate, especially when they get away with it. But like this petty shit, like, no trust in anyone anymore. Nobody has accountability in anything. Like, it ground my gears for about half the day. Like, even Britt was on the phone with me going on like, oh, how could we do? No, it was just my blood was boiling as she kept. I'm like, I can't talk about this anymore. Like, this
Yeah.
is so stupid and like just such, I don't know, like losing faith in humanity more and more every day. So there's my rant about the situation.
Petty bullshit. Well, yeah, buddy. I mean, buying TVs is fresh in my mind. I was gonna say like that Samsung kind of bottom of the barrel thing we bought for the living room, like that was 250 for a
Yeah.
name brand television. So
And
I'm
how
like,
big is that?
55 or something. Like,
Yeah.
so there's no way one of these no name brands is going for 300. I mean, I don't know, maybe they're putting a guy's time in there too, but 150 an hour to go get a TV, that's pretty good money. I mean, we're doing something wrong if you're getting paid that kind of money. Um,
Yeah, and and Aaron said, right, like that Airbnb, like they've got hundreds of those style cabins that we stayed in, right? Point that we were in one exactly like it last year that was like 40 minutes away.
hmm,
And, they're all managed by these like massive whatever property or Airbnb management companies. So like there's probably a huge lack of communication. Nobody actually talks or knows, left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Because even Aaron alluded to that when they were trying to do the early check-in. It was like every time we sent a message, it was somebody else that answered that had a different, answer to the question than the last guy did.
yeah.
So, it's just it's aggravated, man. So like when you have these types of interactions that you had with the dog sitter, or that when you go
Pooch
outside of
paradise.
the big city or whatever, and you get this good old handshake, or like you can take someone's word or whatever it is, like it's so, I don't know, like refreshing. And like I don't know what to like how to put it. It's almost like you just got to like almost cherish that moment because there's so little of that happens this day and age.
Yeah, it's sad, dude. Um, the other thing that comes to mind, remember when we were packing everything out? Like, and I mean, granted, we did not speak with these people or even so much as lay eyes on them because that shitty Chevy Lumina van or whatever they pulled up in was all murdered out. But that thing pulled in with like no muffler, no nothing, hot too. And then they just sat there in a very creepy manner while we loaded our trucks. And, we were out on time, but they showed up at least 20 to 30 minutes before we were ready to go. And they just sat there doing whatever in their vehicle. And it's like, you hate to judge a book by its cover, but if you look at the vehicle they rolled up in, and they're obviously not taking very good care of it. But there's the other side of that too. Maybe that's the best they could do. I don't want to take anything away from them. Maybe they are great people, but this does lend me to believe that, yeah, like to your point, maybe the cleaners jack something up and then they're just trying to like whatever. $300 would put them into the poorhouse. So they're like, hey, just put some tape on it and let's just say we found it this way, blah, 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 whatever. But this does seem a little fishy. I mean, and you kind of, on the principle side of things, you hate to bend over and just kind of take something like this because it is more about the principle than it is the money.
Yeah.
At least it would be for me. You know what I mean? It's like, look, a $300 TV is not going to, like ruin us if I had to buy one. But like, I know for a fact we didn't do it. But it's this whole he said, she said thing that you get caught in the middle of. And unless there's cameras in the room, how do you prove anything?
Yeah, and
So,
you know what? Like if it was an individual that owned that cabin or like whatever, the same person that owned it, managed it, and was like intimate or like knows the ins and the outs, and they probably know the cleaner, um, there'd be more of like a touch or a presence on what's going on between not only the property itself, but the contractors and everybody that they use. And I would be more open to a discussion of what possibly could have happened. But now it's sort of like you got this big, huge management company that, for all we know, these people are possibly even remote, not even in the country, that
yeah.
are part of the chat process because they're just there to answer the basic FAQs. They can't actually do any, like, make a real decision. Which just completely changes the dynamics of the situation. And in fact, I had a toll bill from when I drove the reef car back down from Canada, and same toll we took when we had the convertible to get to Motor City, right?
Yeah.
So they typically, because it's tied to your driver's license, like, you should only have one account. So for whatever reason, when I registered that car, they created a new account. So my dad had sent me a copy of the invoice because it went to their address. And I just paid it through my online banking, but I paid the wrong account. I paid the account that I had on file that I had already linked, right? So another notice comes in, and I'm like, well, what the hell? So I look, and then I realize the account numbers are different. So I call them up, and I'm like, okay, this is what happened. We get it all rectified. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I do not owe anything. There's no outstanding charges. There's no nothing. My parents aren't going to get another bill. No, sir, you're good. Dad sends me an image of $1.03.
Unreal.
And, I'm like, I know what it is. It's probably interest on a late payment, but it's like, if the person on the phone had done their job and figured and calculated out and told me, like, that's one thing, but they didn't. I'm free and clear as far as I'm concerned. But now it's just like, and it's one of those things, like, there's hundreds of thousands of people that get invoiced on that toll, being in the Toronto area. If they did that to, you know what I mean, $1 to thousands of people. And, like, do you think I'm going to call and wait 20 minutes on the phone over the principle of arguing about this dollar? Like, no, like, I wish I had that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, like, it's just, again, it just grinds your gears about how some of this shit operates and what it does. That's what I mean. Like, I miss, like, just traditional, like, if you're going to screw somebody or steal, like, do it with, you know what I mean, a smoking gun in your hand, and, like, be accountable that you fucking stole it, or that you got away, or whatever it is. Like, you were Bonnie and Clyde, good for you until obviously the end of the story. But, like, all this petty stuff, I cannot deal with it.
Yeah. You know, not to turn this into a whole Airbnb pod, but we do have quite a bit of experience with the Airbnbs lately, right? Or
Especially when we go to the right ones, not the wrong ones.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit of experience over the last month or so. The last one that we stayed in, man, these people were unbelievable. And so much so, like, I was telling you, right, we went through that storm, and they reached out to us through the app or whatever and just said, listen, we got a shelter down here. Anything you guys need, come on down. We got you covered. And then as we muddled our way through trying to get, like, approved to be in the apartment that we're in now, there was like a 24-hour period where I was like, oh shit, if we could rent this thing for one more day, even though, our day expired 24 hours previous to that, it would make our lives a lot easier just to kind of smooth the gap over of trying to move into this apartment. So I reached out to her through the app, and right away she gets back to me and she's like, listen, like, we can do it. She says it just kind of puts me in a little bit of a tight spot because I now no longer have enough time to, like, turn that place around because there is someone coming in the following day. And I said, and she just kind of left it at that. And I was like, listen, if if it means anything to you, we will clean the place for you to whatever standard, we consider clean to be, just to help you, like, speed up the process, and we'll throw all the laundry in for you. So all you got to do is hang it or put it in the dryer, whatever. And she's like, oh, if you guys could do that, like, 100%, then let's do an extra night. I'm like, done. You know what I mean? Like, just two logical minds figuring out a solution to the problem. And anyway, and then obviously the two of us write each other beautiful reviews. Like, this is the way that I can't help but think it's supposed to go. However,
well, if we rewind the clock, Like, what does Airbnb stand for?
Well, I don't know the first or three letters, but bed and breakfast, right?
There we go, right?
Yeah.
And back in the day, that's what it was. You were like, typically you were going to someone's home, or like they had an extension of their home or whatever it is, and like they wouldn't be too far away because they'd provide you breakfast in the morning. And it would
Right.
be this experience that, you know what I mean? Like, if you didn't want a traditional hotel, you wanted something that was a little bit more homey, and that you would possibly be able to get some basic interaction with a local, especially if you're not familiar with the area or whatever. So
Yeah.
that way you sort of like get this cultural thing. And this is a massive thing in New Zealand. I know when I was there in 2009 or something, and it was like every Airbnb, it was somebody and they cooked you breakfast and you had a good conversation. They told you where to go, where not to go. You know what I mean? A little bit about their lives. And don't get me wrong, I stayed at a couple kooky ones, like some
Right.
people that were, but like that's sort of what reviews are for. Reviews are sort of going to let you, you know what I mean, get a gauge for what the hosts are really like. But like now, it's literally just like a glorified hotel. I
Yeah.
mean, like no interaction with anybody. And like sometimes it can go what, like sometimes you get like this old school, gem, like this
Yep.
experience that you had. And then on the flip side, right, like we get some investor that owned that condo in Dearborn that probably, like, it's questionable if that person ever even stepped foot in what they own. You know what I mean? They could have bought that from abroad. Like, clearly she was Asian and never stepped foot there, hired somebody to do whatever basic furnishing or painting or whatever it is. And then they got property management, this and that, has no idea, and just send me the money after you stay. And it just kind of like it ruins the whole thing. Like if I wanted a hotel and I wanted to be treated like shit, I know what to sign up for. And I think there's actually been a flip, like in a lot of cases, depending which hotel chain that you're going to, but at least you know what you're getting. You know what I mean? Like if I go to Marriott, Bonvoy, or whatever the hell, a Hyatt, like at least I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get a continental breakfast and whatever, and it might not be the greatest, but it's going to be something, but it's not going to be trash or garbage either.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is one of those tricky topics, right? Because it kind of it starts running you down the path into like capitalism, which I am a very strong supporter of. But like anything, right? It has to be done correctly. And we've had this conversation in various topics, typically surrounding like the automotive industry, but it's like, remember the whole BBK topic, right? And we're
Yeah.
like, where has quality control gone here? Because they found a cheaper manufacturer, and now you got, you know, collectors showing up that aren't threaded and this, that, and the other thing. And, to I think I said this the time we talked about it, but like to a relatively well-equipped shop, that's not a deal breaker. It's more of a piss off, and it's the principle of it because now you got to sit there, throw it in the vise, thread the fucking thing. It's like I shouldn't have to do this. Like this should have gone in that car 20 minutes ago, but I just ate 20 minutes on my billable time to fix your guys's quality control bullshit, you know? And it's when I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to chalk it up just to like a knock against capitalism, but it's almost like growth too fast, or like the dollar is more important than the quality of the product.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm with you 100% on the capitalism thing. I think I just don't like, if you're selling one thing and it organically grows into something else. Like that's why like VRBO, whatever the hell that stands for, that's sort of like they sell themselves on no weird hosts in your face. It's a true homestay of like, you know what I mean? You're just staying in somebody else's home that they own and it's not a hotel.
Hmm,
Whereas Airbnb started out as something like drop the second B.
right.
That's what I don't like. You know what I mean? It's just something so simple and so stupid that, like, if something used to be one way and now it's something completely different, don't try and sell it off as the way that it used to be. Like, rebrand the shit, and then, you know what I mean, just be like, oh, okay, fine. They changed their ways. Now they're just about the money or whatever. Like, I think there's probably a legit opportunity right now for a true, like, bed and breakfast website where, again, the hosts are cooking you a breakfast in the morning and whatever else. Which, who knows? Maybe it grew so much, and there's a food and health and safety issue about it, because now you don't have a certified, you know what I mean, kitchen
Yeah.
or cooks cooking you, and if you accidentally poison your guests or give them salmonella from some uncooked eggs or some shit, like, there's probably just no winning. So that probably happened a couple times. So people just started saying, "Oh, okay, we don't need to do the breakfast part, but we can still do everything else."
Yeah, man. This barbecue that we came from tonight too. We chopped up a few of these topics, and they're they're weird topics in that, like, there's almost no end to them because there's so many different angles to approach it from. I mean, yeah, like you're going down the road of the whole liability end of like bed and breakfast. And for me, dude, what it boils down to is like anytime you get things that are too big. So let's
Yeah.
just take government, for example. You get government too big, it gets messy. We all know that. Anybody that's got their eyes open can see that. Um, there has to be, I mean, I think anything in life you can kind of more or less control about 98% of it. You got to just be prepared for that 2% shit show that's going to
Yeah.
occur. But as long as everyone is operating on the same spectrum, we're all shooting towards that similar ideal. I think you can have things that are like 98% perfect. And 98% back when I went to school was like, let's get drunk. You know what I mean? We fucking aced that test. Um,
Well, I
but
think
it
you're
boils
right.
down to the people,
Yeah.
really and
Well,
truly, dude.
there's the people, and then it's the outside people that start causing issues. So, like, so to your point, the growth aspect of it. So, okay, yeah, the original Airbnb grew too much. Compliance started coming in, or liabilities, or whatever it is, right? Similarly, when I think of PayPal used to be a great way to send money around, and then it started becoming, oh no, wait a second, you're going to get taxed on this. Now we got to take 3% on this if you use your credit card. So even PayPal, they're like, there's so much compliance around it. What they do? They had to start up Venmo. So now Venmo seems like the easy way to do it, and it's just a matter of time, right, before that goes down the tubes. And actually, Turo, the one where you can rent people's cars. That used to be called relay rides. And it was like so basic, so easy to do it. And again, capitalism or whatever, or compliance and insurance and liability and God knows what, I mean, came into play, but at least they rebranded it, and now it's something else. And, I mean, it's not doing a mind fuck to you on the way that it used to be, so to speak. But, um, yeah, man, just to your point, the growth aspect. And even from a business standpoint, right? Like, more square footage you get, then, I mean? Oh, now you might need fire suppression, or you might need this, or you need whatever, your eye wash station and security this and whatever, to be able to comply within your city limits and or county limits or whatever it is, because you got too big. So now you got more eyes on you. So you got to, like, follow a different rule book.
Yeah. Buddy, I had one of those kind of catch my eye the other day. So I went online to pay my utility bill, not power, but like garbage, sewer, water, shit like that, to the city that my shop's in. And I, for whatever reason, I had a brain fart. I couldn't find like where I had to go to pay it. So I ended up in like a couple of different drop down menus. And anyway, I ended up down this fucking rabbit hole of like permits and weird shit like that. And I come along this thing and it says alarm permit. I'm like, huh, what the hell is that all about? Because somewhat fresh in my mind, back in December, when I did kind of the pre move trip down here, I got the alarm set up that was in that shop that the previous renters had put in there and left all the hardware behind. So I'm like, this should take nothing to just call in ADT, whatever, right? Flip a switch. Plus, at the time, didn't know how long it was going to be till we're down here. And the building is technically my responsibility. So I saw it as like a justifiable expense, right? Well, anyway, that's all fresh in my mind. I see this drop menu alarm permitting, and I'm like, what is this? Click. You need to pay the city if you have a residence, $15 a month if you have an alarm, or a year, sorry. So it's not outrageous money. But anyway, it's more the principle. Residents pay $15 a year, businesses pay 30. And the first thing that went through my mind is like, if you want to find a way to get under people's skin real fast, especially when you're trying to encourage like entrepreneurship and bringing money to town and all that stuff, I'm like, you do things like this. Cause like that $30 to me, it may as well be a million because of the principle of it. I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing here? And now I have really good intentions. If I can find the time, and I'd really like to somewhat get involved, maybe not at the city council level, but you know what I mean? Like maybe just pop into the meetings here and there because I'm new to town and new business owner, all this stuff. And I would like to every once in a while kind of put my hand up and go like, are we on the right path here, guys? Like just hypothetically speaking, as a newbie, are we on the right path here? Because when I read that, that pissed me off. And I can't help but think it's probably pissing a few other business owners off in town. And now maybe there's a justifiable reasoning behind this, right? Like that $30, I don't know, offsets the cost of like sending a cop out if somebody fucks up putting their code in one night or something. You know what I mean? Okay. I mean, I can see that. But if that's the case, you should probably explain that, because when there's a lack of information surrounding topics like this, people like me start getting fucking steam coming out of their ears, going like, no, 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 right? This is not the way we encourage growth to town and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's people, it's communication. And actually, that was another thing I wanted to mention, because at the tail end of last week's pod, which we kind of baited everybody, if we're probably being honest, with the whole like stolen Celine thing. We talked about it for about 10 minutes at the end of that pod. Um, there there has been some information that's transpired. I actually think there might be a sort of like reverse legal case now on the people that made the claims. So, but I don't know enough about it, so we shouldn't, go on and on about it. But my point in bringing that up is it's people like that. Fuck, here I go now, kind of talking about it, but let's just assume that this guy is in the wrong. It's people like that that mess up the whole punch bowl. It's the whole like one drop of poison ruins the whole thing. It's like, I don't know. I hate to give you my real opinion on what I think we should do with individuals like that, but it kind of goes along the lines of like evolutionary shit. You know what I mean? Like the weak genes just kind of make their way out of the gene pool. Hey,
Yeah.
get out of my office. Wife coming into my podcast bedroom here. Because I don't know, man. It's sort of ruthless to refer to it that way, but I think most people kind of feel that way. You know what I mean? When there's so many of us that try at least to like operate at a high scale in life, hold doors, be kind, do the right thing, all that stuff. And then you just get that one fucko, that just wrecks the whole thing. Or I guess going back to what we were saying earlier, like it probably is one dickhead at the top, but like when corporations get too big, and it's almost like, I don't know, a bad idea starts like drifting its way through say your kid's school. Next thing you know, it's the telephone game. Everybody's blown this out of proportion. It's a big disaster. It's like we really need to be more cognizant of this stuff as a society.
Yeah. No, that's true, man. It's and I don't know. I think maybe some of it too, right? Like we're getting older, kind of stuck in our ways, and just kind of observant of things change, and you don't like change as much as you get older. So um it's a lot of things, and unfortunately, yeah, we can do our part. If something really upsets us, then I mean, it's the old change, or change will make you, or do something about it. Like you said, if you got involved in city council, or at least you like seeked out the answers instead of just being um I mean, like if that $30 drives you, and I get it, I'm pissed over the $1.03. You know what I mean? Because it's not right. Whether it's a dollar,
Yeah.
it's a million, doesn't make it right. So I think, yeah, information is key there. And, just unfortunately, sometimes it's hard to seek that out, or even be able to communicate with somebody that can get you that information, because nobody answers a damn phone anymore.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Because you get into the call centers, and nothing against call centers, because every once in a while, you do get someone at a call center that'll like rock your socks off and really impress you and stuff. But for the most part, like you kind of just get to that minion level where these people, like, they're just paid not to think, like
Yeah.
they're not here to solve problems. They're just literally here to operate inside the box. Actually, dude, funny little story for you on that. I had, I've actually had quite a few of these lately, right? And I think over the last few pods, anyone listening out there has got a bit of an appreciation of some of the like murky waters that we've found ourselves in as we go to transition our lives down to the United States. Um, so now, stupid little things like, for anyone wondering out there, there's actually a difference between like Canada Amazon and American Amazon, or American iPhone App Store shit and Canadian stuff. And this is all things that, in your regular course of life, you don't think anything about, because it's in the back end of your phone or your app or your whatever, and it doesn't matter, right? Well, then you go to switch countries and it's like, shit, nothing works anymore, right? Well, anyway, we went through this with Amazon just recently, and I ended up getting on the phone with them, because how it started was, first I phoned into them a few weeks back. It was actually when we were on our travels, and I said, "Hey guys, is there such thing as like a switch you can flip to take me from like amazon.ca to amazon.com?" They're like, "Sadly, there's not." And it's sort of funny that there isn't, but I guess it's just one of those things that like 0.001% of people have to deal with it. So why put anything in place to deal with it? So I'm like, okay, what's the solution? You got to cancel your Canadian account, start an American account. Okay, so I do that. Then just the other day, um, I can't even remember. Oh, I know. My wife has actually never had a Prime account. That probably rocks a lot of people's socks, because wives are usually the ones with all the boxes out in front of the house. And so I went to set her up on my Prime account, which is totally a doable thing. A lot of people and families do it. But for some odd reason, we got sort of in this weird like area of Amazon where we couldn't move forward. It wouldn't let us add her. So, okay, back on the blower with Amazon. And they said, well, there's something we see here that you've changed from the Canadian Amazon to the American Amazon, but there's like a weird little, I don't know, almost like a hieroglyphic thing stuck in your phone that's still telling Amazon that you're in Canada. I'm like, holy fuck. So she had tried to add herself with our, now Tennessee address, but the two wouldn't cross correlate. It's going, one of you is in one country, one of you is in the other. We can't do this, right? Anyway, long-winded way of saying, I spoke with this woman on the phone. just a rock star. You know what I mean? Held your hand through the whole thing. And it's one of those things too where sometimes they'll give you the instructions and then they just leave you to it and you're like, fuck, what was step 2 of the process here? I can't even remember. Anyway, she led me through it all. We got it all cleared up. So I guess there, like, moral of the story, there are some good ones out there still. People that kind of think like we do, but I don't know, man. Like you're saying about the whole city council thing, like if people don't step up, like it'll just go to hell.
Yeah.
So it's kind of up to us. And that's a weird one, right? Because we joke all the time saying, like, between the years, we still feel 18. So we don't really consider this to be our responsibility yet, but we're in our mid 40s. Like, if it's our turn, you know what I mean? Like, we got to kind of start doing some of this stuff, or we'll just turn into old crotchety pricks that just sit around and complain about stuff.
Yeah. No, it's true, man. It's
Yeah.
true.
So, buddy, I got the power window motor changed over in the vert the other night. And when was the last time you put a power window motor in a convertible? Is it any time recently?
Um,
Or is it recently
yes,
enough to
actually.
remember how much of a pain in the ass those motors can be to get out?
Well, there's more bracketry in the doors of a convertible, but like the key is like you got to take the speaker out. If you take the speaker out, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. If not, this part of your elbow, well, it actually still ends up being, because you're kind of coming in from the back end and you're coming up the speaker hole. I mean, it's like pulling a calf out of a cow, really, is what it's like doing. But yeah, it was funny because I was talking to Bill Butler on the phone. He had called me earlier that day, and I have pretty much, I've almost been on like a phone dry out as I try to get the shop set up. It's like phone stays over there, and then I just go do stuff, and that way I don't get distracted, right? Well, anyway, had to call him back, and then it hit me at like 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, shit, I better call Bill. So call him, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna feel guilty if I'm not still moving. Oh, right, I got to change the vert driver's side door power window. I can do that in my sleep, right? So I'm talking to him on the phone, and I get going into this, and I'm like, God damn it, I forgot how much of a pain in the ass these things can be to shoehorn. And there's just not as much give, because to your point, there's so much more like bracketry and stabilization to those doors. It's like, Jesus Christ, no wonder people, whatever, start throwing wrenches doing this shit.
Oh,
What a
yeah.
pain in the ass. But anyway, got her out, got the new one in, and then well, I posted in my story on Instagram the other day, drove the old vert home. I'm like, you know, now that I'm down here, and I had 44 years of wishing I lived in a place that I could drive my cars more. I'm like, I'm going to drive the vert home tonight. So, yeah, brought her home at midnight. It was a nice little drive.
Nice. Did it
Yeah.
take you, how long did it take you to do the window motor?
Um, I wonder if I could check my call log from Bill. I mean, it wasn't an outrageous amount of time. I don't think it was like the amount of time you'd want to bill somebody either, though. So it was more
Yeah.
longer than you'd like. But I did. Here's the other thing that kind of pissed me off. So when I pulled it out the last time and JB welded all the gears together, I can't remember if we talked about on the pod, but
Yeah.
what ended up, yeah. So what ended up happening, ladies and gents, is pulled the motor when I was up in Canada, and had to put the motor back in right away. I don't know if I was going somewhere with the car or what, but anyway, couldn't wait the 7, 8, 9 days that it was going to take me to get one shipped up from the States. So pulled the motor apart, JB welded all the plastic gears together, back on the road. While the JB weld job that I did, apparently I got to go back to JB weld school because it only lasted about 3 years, and then it gave up on me. So it needed a new motor. And where the hell was I going with that? What was the question now?
We were just talking about how long it took you. And you're talking with Bill.
Oh, right. So when I put the motor back in after the JB Weld job, um, I don't know if I lost and or had one of the three screws or bolts come out and I couldn't find it after, but I sent a different bolt back into it that was like close but not the similar thread pitch and everything and a little bit bigger head on it. And I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but it was the bottom one that like is the tightest to kind of get a socket in at. And I'm like,
Because it goes, the wiring's right there, so it kind of like wants to go in on an angle. That
yeah,
one. Yeah.
fuck. So I'm like sitting there trying to get the conversation going with Bill and trying to get a socket into this thing. I'm actually starting to like whatever, get pissed off and sweat and whatever. Anyway, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking putting this bolt in here? And or how did I get it in here? Like it obviously went in. Anyway, then dug through the bolt drawer because I think anybody out there that messes with these cars enough, you've got like a dedicated drawer to just leftover bullshit that you're like, I don't need this right now, but I'll probably need it another day. And I found one of those fucking stupid little power window bolts kicking around in my drawer. So we got her
Nice.
back in business. Yeah.
Sweet.
But yeah, man, it was good to get her out. Um, I'm glad that I did it the day I did though, because following that day, we got hammered with this rainstorm, dude. It was came in like silly heavy initially, and then just sort of stuck around in a light manner for the rest of the day. And all I could think was, man, that vert was sitting in that parking lot yesterday when this wasn't going on. Had I brought it home the second night, like I kind of wanted to, but didn't, oh, I would have been pissed because she would have been stuck out there and waterlogged. I mean, my vert it ain't airtight. Let's go that far. It's close, but it's not airtight. You wouldn't want to get caught in a heavy rainstorm if you weren't moving.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's good that you got it sorted out. Yeah, I saw the picture. It looked good.
Yeah. Yep. Thought I'd stop at the little fountain there in town and actually had quite a few people go, holy shit, I've taken pictures of my car out in front of that fountain and whatever, right? So yeah, it's good, man. Like feels really good to be able to kind of do some of those things that, like I say, we spent all those years wishing that we woulda, coulda, shoulda. Um, and now I can do it. Feels good.
Good, good.
And
So I saw you got the 4-post up.
yeah, buddy. So four post is up. I got a call into the electrician. I called him on Friday, which figured probably a slim chance I was going to get him anyway with Easter and everything. And haven't heard back, but hoping to tomorrow being Monday. And because I need him for that, even though I don't have my two post built yet, I could get him to like rough in where that's going to go.
Mhm.
And I think I was telling you my four post, I got the casters for it. So it's going to kind of be a mobile unit anyway. So if I could like wire it up in such a way that whatever, he could throw a plug where I think the four post will mostly live and then just give me 25 feet that of wire that I can hang off the side of the four post, then whatever, I can plug it in kind of wherever I want.
Well, what I did was I got a like an RV plug that's like the dryer prong,
Mm-hmm.
and because there's actually a dryer outlet in my shop. So same thing, because I didn't know where the 4-post was going to be. So I got like a 25-foot or whatever cord, and just yeah, like a male and male, and then I just plumbed a female off the hydraulic unit. And yeah, that way I just kind of run the cord and I plug it in when I need to use it. Because it's one of those things, right? Like you're not using a 4-post, like especially a storage one, all the time. You just kind of use it when you need it. 2-posts a little bit different. I probably want something a little bit more stationary, but
Yeah.
oh, that's good, man.
Yeah. So that and compressor, I got to get him to wire that in for me. But on the mobility train of that four post, so I got a neat little tip there from Boosted 347, Todd. He's like, dude, he goes, what are you going to do for air on your 4-post to like release the locks on it? I'm like, well, I got a compressor. He's like, yeah, but are you going to like just run a hose to it? Because you are going to keep it mobile, like put a hose on a reel. What are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. Actually, I hadn't thought that far ahead. He goes, well, here's a little tip for you that I did. He goes, I bought like a handheld compressor,
Mm.
right? And I just load it up anytime that I want to release my locks and whatever, put it back in the toolbox or hang it on the side of it, whatever. I'm like, that's actually fucking brilliant. So I bought this rig. For anybody that doesn't know, I don't know, I kind of hate to like support the overseas shit here in saying this, but like there is a lot of things that you can buy out there. In my case, I got ran down the DeWalt road, so I got enough of those batteries to like power a house. But you can buy these like off-brand units that'll take DeWalt, Milwaukee, Makita, any of these batteries. And it's kind of a no-brainer because like this handheld compressor, I can inflate a tire up to 160 psi on a DeWalt battery, which I already have, and this thing was like $30.
Yeah.
Like that's a no-brainer.
Oh, absolutely, man. Actually, it's funny actually you bring that up because I was like, fuck, I actually need to get like I like that one that came with the high boy, but like it takes forever. Right? You know what I mean?
And you can
So
only get it up to about 35 pounds or 40 pounds of pressure too.
I think I got 60, 50, 40. I at least got 40 or 45 because I used it on my Viper truck.
Mm,
But like it still takes forever, right? So to have one of those handhelds, I know my buddy Charles has one for his race car, and he'll just go around and just blip,
yeah.
blip, blip, and tires will be whatever he needs them to be, and off you go.
Yeah. I did find, so I had on my pickup, and I mean, they fill those things up to like 80 pounds or something, 75, 80 pounds. Um, I had one that was low. So when I got this, I went out and gave it a go. And the one thing I will say is like, yeah, if you're filling up something to like high PSI, like they do cook through battery quick.
Yeah.
But in the case of just releasing the locks off a hoist, I mean, you might have to charge that battery once every 3 months,
Well, you
takes
could
a little
always get
air.
like a little air tank
That too.
and have a line on it and bring it over. Like to be honest, man, like I always just stretch out a hose and just you know what I mean? Like
Instead of
um
hardwiring.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of a neat little add-on. But anyway, yeah, I got the 4-post in, bud, and then I think I told you I got the like slide in belly lift situation for it
Yep.
too. Yeah, that's a slick system. And for anybody out there wondering, I did this will kind of come out down the road in some video. I guess I'll factor it in. I'd almost, now that I've done this lift, because whatever, it's a name brand lift, so I guess a guy probably could have done a bit of a video around it and maybe had a little traction with it. But um, with me, so this lift is a different brand than my old lift. So anyway, I thought, fuck, maybe there's going to be some differences. I'm not a professional, so I probably shouldn't be giving advice on how to put one of these together. But now that I've done it, I could see there being some value in someone doing a video on something like this.
Mm.
And to be honest, I actually didn't even go looking for one. So maybe they're even out there. I don't know. But it's one of those things when you're putting it all together, especially when you're going to be the asshole standing under it, that you definitely don't want to cut corners. You definitely don't want to skip steps. You know what I mean? It's one of those things because I don't know, anybody that's spent any time under a car, especially on a lift, I mean, that haunting thought in the back of your head of going like, fuck, I don't want to go out this way is always there.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, no corners were cut. Um, but anyway, she's all together, and yeah, I'm quite happy. Everything I kind of imagined that where things were going to be and the room around it and everything, it's all checking out. So I think we should be good to go, buddy.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, hoping like sometime this week, maybe flip the switch on this whole thing and get a car or two in there. So
Right on.
yeah, try to whatever, bring some money in and not just fucking throw it out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Well, here's another selfish little plug, buddy. So as we were on our way home from the barbecue tonight, which sorry, you guys wouldn't know this listening, but Chris had to wait for me because we got whatever busy bullshitting at this barbecue and stuff. But um, I had actually before we left edited up a video, and it was our moving video. So this one's a little bit of a monster, right? Took forever to render and get loaded into YouTube and all that stuff. So it sat here doing its thing all day today. And then right before we got on the pod, I checked it and it was ready to go. So video's live
nice.
for anybody interested. Yeah, a little bit of a selfish plug there, but our moving video is up. I think I'll have to get a pits video up and then I'll hopefully be back in a groove of like normality.
Right. How long's the moving video?
An hour and 3 minutes.
Oh shit. All right.
But I don't know, as you're the editor, I know you'll appreciate this. You think like the things that I think are interesting versus what the viewer may. I always try to keep the viewer in the back of my mind, but at the same time, you're like, man, like this, you're trying to paint a picture here of like trying to do a U-turn on fucking Las Vegas Boulevard. It's like you kind of need some context, but it's like, oh, but then there's all these awkward pauses, so you're cutting shit out and doing whatever. Anyway, I think it worked out pretty good. And a piece of footage, buddy. For anybody, if you don't want to bore yourself with the whole thing, fast forward to like the last 10 minutes or 5 or 10 minutes of the video. I forgot I even had this footage, but it's like 1:45 at night, and it's the night that we slept in the shop. And the wife is done. She's already in the wrapper. The kids are riding the fucking high boy around the shop, doing burnouts in it. Like it's just a free for all in my shop. And we start teasing my wife and trying to get her out of bed. Fuck, it's hilarious, man.
Uh,
But yeah, there's some it was one of those videos that, well, it was filmed over such a big period of time, right? You're like, what is even in this footage? I can't even remember anymore, right?
yeah, it's challenging sometimes because you'll be like, oh, there's so much footage and you got to go through it. But then like sort of as you're watching it, you sort of remember, like it starts coming back to you and be like, oh, I know it. There's something in there, because that's the thing. Like if you fast forward too far, it's really easy to miss. Like, you could easily jump over a minute or two of footage if you're too fast on the little dragger.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I actually just did one today for the Cobra, and I had to go back to footage when I was doing the cam swap and the motor, and I'm like, shit, that was like probably near a month ago. And
Right.
so it's sort of like going through and it's like, oh no, I kind of remember that. Like again, same thing, as I watched it. And to your point, man, it's really challenging to like what we feel is important versus what the viewer is going to think is important and good. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, it's probably the exact opposite of what we think. Like all the boring shit that we do not put in our videos just might actually do better than what we think.
Yeah. I know. I think about that sometimes because I don't even know anything about this, but I've heard little grumblings of it. Like these people that are like big Twitch accounts, which is the streaming account. I've only just recently learned about this, but people literally like just go live all day while they play video games or while they make a product or whatever. And people go on there and watch this. I've actually seen it on YouTube, I want to say. It's in vertical format, so like short or whatever format. And the one that I came across was this guy. He's like an offshore kind of marlin fisherman or whatever, right? In the Keys. And he's got like a vertical camera up on the kind of roll bar, sort of fishing rod storage area of his boat. And this was just through, like, I found it, just in a death scroll. And I'm like, there's like fucking 3,000 people watching this guy fish right now. Like, holy shit. Hey, it kind of blew my mind.
Yeah. Man, I think, yeah, my original concept of the Infamous project was a little ahead of its time.
Little too early, bud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, we've talked about this enough times to, like, when say when we were doing the shit box and you're camera A, I'm camera B, or vice versa, whatever. And it's like, well, when we think to pick it up versus like when we should have just had these things bolted to the wall somewhere filming full time, it's tricky. But then when you're the chief cook and bottle washer, i.e., editor, personality, you're everything, it's like you kind of try to pick and choose your battles. And I don't know, you miss out on a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why, like, I think some of I was thinking about this the other day because I had watched another Matt Armstrong video on some Ferrari he's trying to get together. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, he's got cameras set up and a lot of voiceover, right? Showing whether it's time lapsed or just some key moments, and then footage where he's sort of would have been more live, not voiceovering. And I was like, man, we should get more credit for what we do because, like, we don't voiceover.
Right.
And so, like, when we're trying to actually speak while doing, and even I think Lewis said it at Pitts. I don't know if you were around because he was like, yeah, no, when he was had that no start issue on his car. He's like, yeah, I was trying to take a video and show Chris what's going on. And it's just like, I don't know how the fuck you guys like talk while you're trying to film something at the same time. Cause it's like, the man brain can really only do one thing at a time. And so, yeah, so I was like, shit, like our videos are technically harder to produce and make than these other guys that, what I mean, do extremely well. But, and I get it. It's more like optimizing your content and your footage and being more precise with what you're talking about instead of whatever. We go on our rants or our tangents or whatever else that's, I think, relatable to our specific audience. And I think that's what it is. I don't think it's the content that's our issue. I think it's just literally the relevance in terms of how it's communicated. Because think
Right.
about it, there's like those videos of like the restoration of things or this or that, and sometimes there's like no talking whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, it could be a lot of things, man.
Yeah. I know the one that comes to mind is, what, I've watched a few of these too, where somebody restores like a Rolex that's
Yeah.
been on the bottom of the ocean in a mud puddle somewhere, and yeah, there's like zero speaking. You
Mhm.
don't even see the person's face. You just kind of see their little glovey
Gloves.
fingers, yeah, doing whatever, right? Um, but now I'll admit it is kind of hypnotizing, especially when you're watching somebody work on like things you need a magnifying glass to see. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's the thing, right? I don't know that we'll ever understand the wild world of this type of content, but yeah, that Matt Armstrong, I mean, he's figured something out. It works very well for him, very fast.
Yeah. No, it's true, man. Like I even like it's weird because you watch someone like Whistling Diesel, who, by the way, he put a post up on Instagram today that was alluding to why he's no longer in the truck scene. So it's something along the terms of like, um, everybody that has a truck wants to show how cowboy or how country they are without actually being anything to do with country. And first it started with like squatted trucks, but now I've realized it's just like the whole truck scene in general.
Mm.
And I was like, oh my God, just do one about fucking coyote, like muffler deletes on coyotes and how fucking gay it is. And maybe it'll like stop this madness of wide open coyote exhausts. Because that's literally what I said. I think when we were at that Bucky's and those 2 or 3 coyotes pulled in doing their shit. And it was like, man, just needs someone extremely influential to tell them all they're gay.
Yeah. Buddy, but you know, it's that whole thing. I mean, there's an ass for every seat, I guess, and maybe we're the odd ones here. You know what I mean? Because like, I hate to say it that way because, you know, I have my thoughts that agree with yours, and but there's so many of them out there where they just like love that outrageously ignorant rasp, and it's like, guys, like, no part of this is enjoyable. I mean, when you got like, I think I told you on one of the pods previously, but like my wife going like, "What was that?" You know, like in a very surprised and like that wasn't an enjoyable noise to hear kind of manner. It's like, "Okay, guys, like even the girls think this is the shits. What are we doing?"
Yeah.
It's yeah, I don't know, man. Because I think we all think, you know, like Foxbody sounds is one that I think resonates out there with people. Like, you know, you chalk it up to, I don't know, the sound of a bird, or you know what I mean? Like it's one of those sounds that you can go like, yep, I can put that on the shelf and know what that sound sounds like. Sure, there's some kind of different dialects depending on muffler choice and what's under the hood and everything, but for the most part, there there's that sound, right? Um, and then you got like, you know, a good sounding like old school big block or something to that effect, you know,
Whatever,
and that,
even Chevys like an LS or whatever, like they sound decent.
yeah, yeah, done right. I know the LSs can get a little kind of, I guess it all boils down to what, you know, what muffler, what pipe, what everything. But um, to your point, yeah, like they're kind of a calmer, tamer sounding motor. Um, but then, yeah, you get it. And so, where I'm going with all this anyway is that there's a sound that's enjoyable that people think of when they think like a nice sounding car, truck, whatever, driving by you, right? Or taking off away from you. But then there's this, and I don't know what box this fits into. Like, this is just like nails on a chalkboard, ignorant, you know? It's like this is, and but then again, back to my earlier point, like there's this massive group of people that seem to think this sounds all right. And you're going like, who's not getting the memo here?
Do
Like,
they really think it sounds all right though, or is it just a thing? It's like back in the day when stereos were a big thing. Well, clearly they're still big in your little town because you can actually cruise by the shop. But like, there was always the guys 9 times out of 10 that had the super loud stereos, not because they were trying to actually enjoy the music. They had like their SPL whatever CD in the player that's going to make the most amount of noise to piss everybody off, to vibrate windows, to turn heads and make people look. So I'm wondering if this is more about noise. They don't care how bad it sounds. It's just like, hey, look at me.
you know, dude, you might be onto something here because the other thing that tracks with this, and for the record, like I'm not trying to cut anybody down here. I mean, there's a handful of these colors that I don't mind, but see, there's also this trend with like really, really loud colors,
Mhm.
right? Um, like actually, I seen a, I think it's the, you know, the new version of, I think they call it the Dart, Dodge Dart or whatever, which is sad because like the old ones were kind of cool. The new one's just a fucking neon with a new set of headlights or something, right? But dude, this thing is literally high vis orange. Like not hugger, not fucking like not normal orange. This is high vis where you go like, whoa, like what is that? You know? And so where I'm going with this is combine that extra silly loud noise with like an ultra bright color and parallel that with like extra loud music.
Yeah.
Now you're just looking for attention and you
Yeah.
don't care how you get it either. It's not like, ooh, that sounds really good. That type of attention is just like, what the fuck is that kind of attention?
Oh, yeah. No, I think there's probably something there where it's more of an attention thing.
Well, yeah, because actually those going back to the guys at Bucky's, like they didn't just, pull in hot and leave hot, which is kind of the normal way that you would probably appreciate a loud car. Like as they were doing the slow roll past the pumps, it was like rap, rap, like they're blurping it and they're
Yeah.
making it make that noise. And it's like, guys, like there's women and children around here. Man, we sound like old fucking fogies here, but I mean, it's not enjoyable. It hurts your ears. Maybe if you plugged your ears and heard it, like if you muffled the edge off of that sound, it might sound okay, but it's way too sharp. It's way too high pitched.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
They're not going anywhere for a while, dude. I'm going to assume that's what it is. And I'm hoping that enough people grow older that own those platforms and like, because I don't, and mind you, maybe on that Foxbody, or actually it was the Cruise, right, at Pitts, which would have been all Mustangs. I'd be curious to know if you had 20 Coyote swap Foxes versus 20 Coyotes on a Cruise. How many of the Coyote swap Fox bodies are going to purposely rev their shit and make that noise versus those that are in the Coyote, the whatever, in the S550s or 650 that it came in? Because I sort of have a feeling it's going to be like I don't know, maybe 8 out of, or 2 to 8 or whatever ratio,
right.
80-20 rule.
Well, and if we're going off of the attention seeking theory, maybe they feel as though this is something they need to do because there's that many more of them out there. So in order to stand out, you got to be the loudest one of the bunch. Yeah, right. And now we would be amiss. I know, like the last time we talked about this on a pod, a bunch of people reached out, and we must have just forgot to say this because I know you and I have talked about it, but like muffler placement is key, and this is a lot of the well, in the ones that just don't have any mufflers, everything's out the window. But the Fox bodies with a Coyote with the muffler pre-axle, whole nother animal versus post-axle and all that whole stuff. So that is a thing. But yeah, the Coyote is, I don't know, the sound that comes out of that thing. It's an interesting sound. It's more one that you need to like tame than it is like crank up the dBs on,
Yeah.
It's a weird animal, that one.
Like, it is so bad. I rather hear like the rice burner, the old 4 cylinders with the fart cans on the back of them.
yeah.
Like, because that used to be annoying as fuck. Like, don't get me wrong, there were some that were like the tones were okay, but then there was the guys that were literally like just straight piped, or literally just had like a blow through at the back with a huge tip.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even that's got a little bit, I don't know, more zing to it than like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the other one that comes to mind And this goes back to the old like small block Chevy days, and like even some of the old like what when they went into that like LT Chevy motors and stuff. Um, and I mean, everybody, depending on how small a town it was you grew up in, but typically, if you're in a small town, everybody knew one or two guys that had a pickup that had nothing for mufflers on it. And it was all about like 1.25 inch pipe. So you could really get that snap out of the tail end of her. I mean, funny enough, man, there is a pickup where the shop is, and I'll hear that thing go by sometimes, and he can't be doing any more than like 1,500 RPM. And I won't be able to manipulate my mouth to make the sound, but it's just this crack, 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 is all you hear, right? As he
Yeah.
goes by in a faster manner than that. But, and it's just such a piercing sound. You're like, fuck, pal. Like, how do you even drive down the road and think, you know? Like for us in the Fox world, it's the drone that kills you, right? It's like rolling down the back window of your quad cab and getting that like fucking reverberation in your ears. The drone, we fight it, and nobody likes it because it's not enjoyable to spend any time behind the wheel listening to. But that I would take the fucking drone over all this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, man, it's like it's attention seeking. It's like
Yeah.
people that there's something they're trying to compensate for something or get attention for something or they got daddy issues or whatever it is.
Small dick issues, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, hey, have you heard enough Godzillas at this point to know if you're going to be up against anything like this?
So they definitely have a different sound. Um, I haven't heard like the ones I've personally done have all been truck based. Um, the few Foxes that I've heard, I don't know 100% like what the whole exhaust setups were. Like the one I think was like a dump situation. So like that doesn't count because dumps are just annoying no matter what you do. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of curious. And like my Cobra, I was looking at it last night with Jordan because we finally got the drivetrain set in there and kind of looking at how the exhaust is going to go. And it's like, dude, it's bullet style mufflers is the only thing that's going to fit because like the
Hmm.
inner workings of the chassis just come in too far to get a traditional muffler in there. Um, I can probably get like two resonators pretty much right where the transmission cross member is. And then it could be pipe, whether you put an X in there or maybe I'll try and do something like a double X. Like it's going to be loud as fuck no matter, what you do, right? So um that one's going to be interesting, but I guess the Fox that's getting the hair up, actually both other Foxes that are at my shop will have like more traditional style setups on them, mind you, with long tubes. And yeah, I'm very curious. And that's the other thing too, right? Like new Flowmaster sound versus like I'd love to get my hands on a set of like old school, like the real deals,
Yeah.
or like a Mac, like get a Pro Chamber hooked up on one of those and see how it behaves and what it does. But I'll tell you this, they sound better than damn Coyote or anything overhead.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, see, but yeah, I was kind of going to almost bring this up before too, the whole overhead thing, because I mean, I don't necessarily think it's the overhead scenario because, well,
Well, there's 4.6s that sound good, right?
that's where I was going to go with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, even, like you got into, okay, so the 4.6,
But 5.4s don't sound good. I've never heard a 5.4 sound good. Like in a Lightning or, whatever truck application or what would that be? Navigator base block that people use sometimes. So anything over 4.6, I don't think I've heard good sounds out of.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to speak to somebody that, because, well, do you remember hearing the story on uh the LF1 or whatever they called that? Was it a Toyota or a Lexus? It was their like supercar thing that they did, and
Oh yeah,
they,
I remember that thing.
yeah, and I think it was like four tips out, or yeah, four out the center or something. And anyway, they collaborated with Yamaha to like make sure that the sound was the sound they wanted. And I think that thing was like a V10 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like LFA, I think is what it was.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Lexus LFA, is that what it's
Yeah.
called? Yeah. Um, anyway, like I'd like to talk to somebody that can like kind of speak that sort of terminology to understand, like, what is it about this Coyote 50? It's got to have something to do with like the valves and the way they're shaped and this and that. Like all of that's going to correlate to the noise that comes out of the back end of this thing.
Well, I think cylinder bore plays a big one too, right? Like with your overall displacement size, because like take my 5 liter V10 in my BMW. Like that thing has your it's high revving, higher pitch, it sounds like F1 status.
Right.
Um, you take my other BMW that's 5 liter V8 and completely different noise and sound, whatever. Mind you, okay, you're down 2 cylinders, but comparatively, if you take a Viper V10, which was a damn near 8 liter, I think, right? Trying to think, but like
Yeah.
you never hear a Viper sound good.
No, that's true. Vipers don't.
Like they
Well,
sound like a boat, right? Like they sort of, and that, so interestingly enough, right? I forget if we talked about it on the pod. There's somebody doing a Foxbody on a Roadster Shop chassis, but it's whatever, LS or LT powered. And they did this long tube thing where they took two primaries from one side and stuck them in the collector. So two primaries from the passenger side went into the collector of the driver's side, and two of the primaries from the driver's side went into the passenger side collector. So me and Jordan were thinking about it, and it's like, you think if they took the firing order, like shot out, because obviously the firing order is different on the Chevy versus the Ford.
mhm.
So could they actually take the exhaust noises and like redo the, 137265548 and try and make that Chevy sound more Ford like coming out the back?
Interesting. But see, wasn't that one of the things that happened with the Coyote 50 is like there's a certain amount of generations that had one firing order and then they went back to the small block firing order?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to say there was something about that. And actually, along those lines, just so we're not whatever, sounding like complete dipshits, I was like, well, I think most people know this, or if you don't, you're about to. Like, compression ratio changes all this too. I mean, you hear a snotty little high compression small block Ford, you know, don't go thinking that you can just replicate that guy's mufflers and make your stock 50 push rod motor sound the same. Like it's not going to, right? So going down the compression road, I was like, I couldn't quite remember what the hell the Coyotes were. And so I looked it up. Gen 1 is 11 to 1, Gen 2 is 11 to 1, Gen 3 is 12 to 1.
Oh, shit. I
Yeah.
didn't realize they were such high compression.
So that is also a factor, right? Or, I mean, has to be kind of thrown into the ingredient list here. Um, but the one that I think no one can argue or whatever is the whole just where the muffler's placed is key. Now, back to your thing there, buddy, in the Godzilla. Um, I'm trying to think. I know that there are. I don't want to call them bullet style because they're still kind of like square capped, but they're just a pure round muffler. I'm trying to think, is it a Borla maybe that does those?
Yeah, I think there is Borla. I think like I'm gonna go with all stainless bros just because they're at a Liberty Hill down the road and it'll all be stainless. And that
Okay.
is another point too, right? Like depending on the type
Material.
of piping and the wall thickness and everything else, like that all resonates a hell of a lot differently. So I don't know what those coyotes like if it's all because stainless typically has more of a tingy
Yep.
like rasp to it. Um that kind of gives it that unique sound. So I'm wondering, is Ford, I don't know if that factory exhaust is, what it's made out of, but that probably contributes to some of it as well.
Yeah. Um, I know the one that comes to mind, speaking of materials, but I think this is just good justification to explain kind of what you're saying there. Like Mario's car, wifey bought
Wifey
B2
paid.
not whatever. Wifey paid, yep. Because I think his whole exhaust is all aluminum piping, right?
Mm,
And it's got a totally unique sound to it. And I mean, just well, it's a snotty little motor and all the rest of it too, but it does have a unique sound, especially if you go back through his videos when he first posted the video of the aluminum pipe versus the whatever he had before, probably a stainless or something on there. It was a big change. And then you bring it up all the time too, right? Like old Flowmaster 40s versus new, right? There was definitely a gauge thickness in those mufflers that changed, and that is a huge factor. You know,
yeah.
um, the one that kills me though, and I guess it's just all in what you know, but um, folks that are maybe in the like 96, 7, 8, like SN world and going like, man, like how do I make my car sound like, one of the old pushrod ones? And I don't think they kind of connect those two dots. And it's like, pull the motor, dude. I mean, I hate to say it, but like that's where you got to go because it's, yeah, you're trying to whatever make an apple into an orange. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well,
But
I
I
don't know,
think,
man. I'd be, like I said, it might be worth just spending a little bit more time with some of these coyote swap foxes and seeing how they sound.
yeah. Well, and maybe, buddy, like if you are gonna collaborate or work with those guys down the road, kind of thing, it'd be neat if you could sit there and maybe like have a couple options to try. Because I
Yeah.
think you're probably gonna be in the realm of like, where most people are trying to make their car louder. You're gonna be on the other end of the spectrum, going like, how do we not soften, round this thing out a bit? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, how do we make it more of a enjoyable kind of big block, small block, old school sound versus this new age thing, right?
Yeah. It's almost like I'm going to need a custom chamber of some sort made because like that's what it comes down to. Like the old school, whether it was two chamber or three chamber, like they were large mufflers, really gave it the deeper, more rumbly sound versus anything that was cherry bombed or straight piped or whatever else. And I think like the only exhaust that I've ever warmed up to on a Fox that does have bullet style shit on it is actually my white notch. But at the same time, like that's very like it almost doesn't sound like your traditional small block. Like the person that didn't know any better might actually be like, "Oh, like does that have a modular motor in it?" It's
Yeah.
just not to like that level of like ear piercing absolute annoyingness, you know?
Yeah. And that car's got such a like smooth rev to it. It does kind of like present itself like a modular motor. It is a weird little 5.0 that thing.
Sort of like a
Um,
4.6.
yeah.
Sounds more 4.6 ish now that like I really think about it than 5.0.
Yeah, I know that one is a bit of an anomaly. I remember you telling me that, and then when we took it up to Dallas, I'm like, son of a bitch, this thing would trick you if you couldn't pop the hood on it. Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of weird, huh? Yeah, just a smooth running little motor. Um, I don't know, man. I mean, I always like having the exhaust conversation. It is one of the trickier things to explain a sound to someone. Um, but I don't know. I think when you're using like a round sound versus a jagged sound, it kind of paints you a bit of a picture.
Yeah. It's like some people like to drink Budweiser, some people like to drink Corona, but everybody can drink Miller Lite.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Yeah,
find the Miller Lite of exhaust. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever it is. Take that analogy however you need to mix your brands accordingly, but you know what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah, it's true. Nope. Did I tell you I'm going to try out one of these FP performance kits?
No.
Yeah. Which I'm actually quite excited about because
Like, so
well, I
we're
don't know.
talking full catback?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so because from what I gather, yeah, like they're that's the big push, right? Is to rather than just offer the mufflers, like let's do the whole kit or whatever. And I think they're just kind of on the final stages of like, okay, we're good. Because I get it. You know what I mean? Like one of the worst things I think you could ever do sort of goes back to the beginning of the pod, but it's like do that like corporate rush and all of a sudden this doesn't fit or what's going on here or whatever, right? So they want to make sure they got their shit in a group before they do. But yeah, I'm gonna test out their shit, I don't want to screw this up, but I think it's the race version,
Okay.
or maybe do they call it street and strip? Anyway, you know what I mean. It's kind of there's the quiet version and the more louder version. I'm gonna try out the louder version and yeah, see what it's all about. Maybe I don't know if I got you with your head underneath the back of my car or not, to like see the way that I had rigged up my tips and stuff, it's not pretty. If I'm being honest.
You've talked about it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna do it on the Dragon then.
Do it on the Dragon. Yeah,
Okay.
and tidy some of that stuff up. My tips are formerly your Silver Coupe's trunk. Not pretty. So yeah, see if I can't whatever tidy that back end of it up. Now, I do love the way it sounds. Those Super 44s, they seem to get a lot of attention. People are always like, what is that? Whatever. They're a good sounding muffler, but yeah, I don't know. I'm very intrigued by this whole FP idea for sure.
No, that's good. I think it's just the mufflers for that red 85 T-top. So it's sort of like, it's the headers is one thing, the X pipe's another, the flow tubes are the pipes because they're actually bent, then the FP mufflers, and then I think it's like the 3-inch Flowmaster tips. So it's a sort of like you got to piecemeal all this shit together of like um the best stuff that actually works because there is no kit that actually fits seamlessly. Like the only kit that I had really good luck with was that Black Widow kit that I put on that blue Celine.
Oh yeah, right.
That kit fit really nice. And
And that
even
was a
made it work
3-inch
off those
kit.
long tubes. What's that?
That was a 3-inch kit or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It's funny, right? Like I feel like all the 3-inch stuff always fits better than the 2.5.
Yeah. Which I know my theory on that is, well, if you're dealing with less clearance, you got to make sure this shit's like whatever
Dialed
on its
in.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, give that a go and see what it's all about. But that man, that actually brought back some good memories because yeah, that blue Celine sounded pretty sweet.
Yeah. Which funny enough, so that car had like those old school Canfield heads on it, which that's the only time I'd ever seen or heard those heads on anything. And I got this black GT at the shop last week that belongs to sort of like father son combo. The son's had it since he was 16, hasn't been on the road, since '04.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, they're like, yeah, no, we got the motor rebuilt and it got tuned. And then it sat, I don't know how many years now since then, but the motor's good. But, fuel system needs to be gone through the whole normal stuff, right? So drop it off. I'm going through it. And apparently it's this 331. And sure as shit, Canfield heads on it. And funny enough, that blue Celine was a 331 with Canfield heads. And that one had a Dixon intake on it. This one's got a Holley Systemax, which is pretty much a ripoff of the Dixon. So it's pretty much the exact same combo. And I got it fired up and I was like, man, this thing sounds exactly like that car did.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, there's so many neat deals still laying around, hey?
Yeah.
Fields and, well, not even fields, like just tucked away in garages. And it's, I don't know, it's weird because, yeah, you go to these shows and stuff and you kind of think you've seen it all or whatever. You just flip through instant or social media and you think it's all out there. But I mean, I don't know, that we probably appreciate like 25% of it,
Yeah.
so much out there.
Oh, yeah, so many projects, man, just sitting and wouldn't even know they're there. And like, those are the best ones. I mean, because it's like you actually get excited about, because anybody else who just posts it, it's like, okay, yeah, whatever, you got it. But when you find that shit out in the wild, I don't know, it's just so much more rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Okay, buddy. I know we said we were gonna try and like both have a little wind down tonight. So maybe we'll leave her high and tight. And I guess, well, it's my week to upload. Maybe I'll do a little intro thing for it. But happy Easter, everybody.
Oh yeah.
Right? So Tom's birthday, oh no, I guess Easter kind of falls on a little bit of a different like number every year, right? Is that
Yeah, like
how it
follows the moon.
Right. So Tom's birthday isn't always on Easter, but this year it kind of is.
Yeah. He
Maybe
is the Admiral Bunny.
Yeah, right? Or the Jeebus. So yeah, anyway, we are staying true to what we said last week, ladies and gents. We're pulling out all the stops. We're getting back on our regularly scheduled program. And yeah, I think we'll leave her there, hey?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, well, thanks for listening, folks, and enjoy the week.
Yeah, till next week.